The morning sun shone through the tall windows of Jia Kim's penthouse. Jia stood by the glass wall, looking out at the city below. 3 years had passed since her husband Day died in space. The accident happened near Jupiter, where Day's company was mining rare minerals. Since then, Jia had taken over his technology empire, becoming one of the richest women in the world. Jia sipped her tea slowly. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple style. At 42, she still looked young, but her eyes showed her sadness. The business kept her busy, but nothing filled the empty space Day left behind. "Ms. Kim, your meeting starts in 30 minutes, said Mina, her assistant. "Thank you. I'll be ready soon," Jia replied, not turning from the window. Something caught her eye. Across the bay, a black car stopped in front of a large white mansion. The house had been empty for months, but Jia heard someone bought it recently. A tall man stepped out of the car. Jia's cup fell from her hand, shattering on the floor. She couldn't breathe. "Ms. Kim, are you okay?" Mina rushed to her side. Jia pointed with a shaking finger. "That man! Look at him." The man stood by the car, talking to the driver. Even from this distance, Jia knew that face, that way of standing, the gesture of his hand as he spoke. "It's Day," she whispered. Mina looked confused. "Ms. Kim, that's not possible." "Son, activate maximum zoom on Sector 5, Jia ordered her AI system. The window display changed, zooming in on the mansion entrance. The image became clear. The man had Day's face, his eyes, his smile. He wore an expensive suit, just like Day always did. Sun-run facial recognition against Day Kim's profile, Jia said, her voice trembling. The AI responded in its calm voice. "Facial analysis complete. Match with Day Kim, 99.7% probability." "That's impossible," Mina said. "The system must be wrong." "Sun never makes mistakes like this," Jia replied. "Who owns that house now?" "Searching property records," the AI said. "The mansion was purchased 2 weeks ago by Blue Sky Corporation. This company was registered 3 weeks ago. No public information about owners or board members is available." The Day lookalike entered the mansion. The car drove away. "Cancel my meetings today," Jia said to Mina. "All of them?" "But the board, all of them," Jia repeated firmly. When Mina left, Jia went to her private office. She opened a drawer that stayed locked most of the time. Inside was a small black box. She touched her finger to the scanner, and the box opened. Inside was Day's personal communicator, the one found floating near the wreckage of his ship. Jia turned it on. Most of the data was corrupted, but she had kept it anyway. Now she searched through the broken files again, looking for anything about Blue Sky Corporation. Nothing. She tried another search term, consciousness transfer. A single file appeared, password protected. Jia had never seen this before. She tried several passwords before thinking of their anniversary date. The file opened. It contained a video. Day's face filled the screen. "Jia, if you're watching this, something has gone wrong. I'm probably dead. I'm sorry. What I'm about to tell you sounds crazy, but it's true. We aren't alone in the universe. I made contact 2 years ago. They offered us technology beyond our dreams, but they needed to understand us better first. I volunteered for their program. If it works, a part of me will come back, but not as myself. Don't be afraid if you see me. It won't really be me, but it might help save our world." The video ended. Jia sat in silence. Then she pressed a button on her desk. "Yes, Ms. Kim?" It was her security chief, Tay. "I need information about Blue Sky Corporation. Everything you can find. And I want surveillance on the white mansion across the bay." "Is something wrong?" Tay asked. "Maybe," Jia said. "I just saw a ghost." That night, Jia watched through powerful binoculars as lights moved inside the mansion. Shadows passed. By windows, more cars arrived. Important-looking people entered. Her phone rang. It was Tay. "Ms. Kim, there's an invitation for you to a charity gala tomorrow night." "Where?" she asked, though she already knew. "The white mansion across the bay. Blue Sky Corporation is hosting." Jia lowered her binoculars. "Accept it. Team advises against it. We don't know enough about these people." "Accept it," Jia repeated. "And Tay?" "Yes." "Prepare my husband's favorite dress, the blue one." Tomorrow she would meet the man with Day's face. She would find out if aliens had really brought back a piece of her husband. And why? The stars glittered above the elegant white mansion as Jia Kim stepped from her luxury car. She wore the blue dress Day had always loved, its silk catching the light as she moved. Her driver gave her a concerned look. "Are you sure about this, Miss Kim?" he asked quietly. "No," Jia admitted, "but I need answers." She handed her invitation to the doorman. Inside, the mansion buzzed with important people. Politicians, celebrities, business rivals. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over marble floors. It was exactly the kind of party Day used to enjoy. Jia accepted a glass of champagne from a passing waiter, but didn't drink. Her eyes scanned the crowd, looking for that impossible face. "Ms. Kim." "What a pleasure," said Lee, one of her board members. "Surprised to see you here. You rarely attend these events anymore." "I'm making an exception tonight," Jia replied. "Do you know who our host is?" Lee shrugged. "Blue Sky Corporation. Nobody knows much about them. Rumor says they have revolutionary technology." The crowd shifted and Jia's heart stopped. There he was across the room. Day's face, Day's smile, Day's way of tilting his head as he listened. She put down her glass and moved toward him. People greeted her as she passed, but she barely noticed. The man was talking to a group of scientists. When he saw her approaching, something flashed in his eyes. Recognition? Fear? It vanished quickly. "Excuse me," he said to his group, then turned to Jia. "Ms. Kim, you honor us with your presence." His voice was Dai's voice. Up close, he was identical, the small scar near his eyebrow from a childhood accident, the slight asymmetry of his smile. But his eyes seemed older, wiser somehow. "You know me?" Jia asked, struggling to keep her voice steady. "Everyone knows the famous Jia Kim," he replied smoothly. "I'm Han, just Han, no family name." "You look exactly like my late husband," Jia said directly. Han's expression didn't change. "I've heard that before, a strange coincidence." "There's no such thing as coincidence at 99.7% facial recognition match," Jia said. For a moment, Han's composure slipped. Then he smiled again. "Perhaps we should speak somewhere more private." He led her to a small study away from the main party. Once the door closed, Jia faced him. "Who are you, really? What are you?" "It's complicated," Han said. "I am, and am not your husband. I saw Day's message about aliens, is that true?" Han walked to the window, looking out at the night sky. "Your husband was a remarkable man. When we first made contact, most people were afraid. Day saw opportunity. We. Who is we?" Han turned. "We've been watching Earth for centuries, learning your languages, your cultures, but understanding only goes so far. We needed closer connection." "So you took my dead husband's face?" Jia's voice shook with anger. "He volunteered," Han said gently. "His consciousness, his memories, they're part of me now." "To prove it," he spoke again. "Remember our trip to Jeju Island? The storm that trapped us in that little cave? You were scared of the thunder but pretended not to be. I held you all night and told you stories about the stars. Only Day knew that story." Jia felt dizzy. "If Day is part of you, then he's still alive somehow." "In a way," Han said. "But I'm not him. I have his memories, but I'm more." He moved suddenly, faster than any human could, to catch a falling book before it hit the floor. His movements were too smooth, too perfect. "What do you want?" Jia asked. "To prepare humanity for what's coming," Han replied. "Your species stands at a crossroads. We can help you avoid mistakes others have made." "Others? There are more alien species." Before Han could answer, the door opened. A tall woman entered. "Han, the minister is asking for you," she said. "Then," noticed Jia. "Oh, excuse me." Han nodded. "I'll be right there, son." To Jia, he said, "We'll talk again soon." He left with the woman. Jia stood alone in the study, mind racing. Then she noticed something on the desk, a small device unlike anything she'd seen before. She quickly slipped it into her purse. When she returned to the party, Han was nowhere to be found. She searched the entire mansion, but he had vanished. Outside, Tay waited with her security team. Did you find what you were looking for, he asked. No, Gia said, but I found something else. In her car, she examined the alien device. As her fingers touched it, it glowed with strange symbols. What did you discover? Tay asked. Gia looked out at the mansion, now dark and silent. That my husband kept bigger secrets than I ever imagined, and that we are definitely not alone. The morning after the gala, Gia sat in her office, turning the alien device in her hands. It had stopped glowing, becoming just a small metal cube with strange markings. Her team of scientists couldn't identify the material or technology. Ms. Kim, I have that information you requested, said Tay, entering with a tablet. We tracked Han's movements after he left the party. Gia looked up eagerly. Where did he go? That's the strange part. He entered a car that drove to an old research facility in the mountains. The building used to belong to your husband's company. Moon Base Research? Gia frowned. That facility was shut down after Day died. Official records say it's closed, Tay agreed. But satellite images show regular activity, vehicles coming and going at unusual hours. Gia opened a drawer and pulled out an old security badge. Dai gave me access to all his facilities. This might still work. You're not thinking of going there yourself? Tay looked alarmed. I need answers, Tay. Then let me send a team. No, Gia cut him off. If Han is telling the truth about aliens, involving more people could be dangerous. I'll go alone. That's not safe, Ms. Kim. Then come with me, just you. The mountain road twisted through thick forest. As they approached the research facility, Gia saw it was smaller than she remembered. A simple concrete building with few windows. The main gate was closed but not guarded. Strange for a secret facility, Tay remarked. Gia held her old badge to the scanner. To her surprise, it beeped green. The gate opened. Day always said I should have access to everything, she murmured, even after he was gone. They parked away from the main entrance and approached on foot. Through a window, Gia saw people in lab coats moving around complex equipment. The alien device in her pocket suddenly grew warm. We need to get inside, she said. They found a side door. Again, Gia's badge worked. The corridor beyond was empty. They moved quietly, following signs to Project Rebirth. Listen, Tay whispered. Han's voice came from behind a door. The integration is proceeding faster than expected. Her reaction was emotional, but controlled. A woman replied, She took the beacon. Was that planned? Yes. She needs to understand. Gradually, Gia's hand tightened around the device in her pocket. They had wanted her to take it. She pushed open the door. Han and the woman from the party, Sun, stood before a large screen showing Day's face next to Han's. They were identical. I knew you would come, Han said calmly. Tay moved protectively in front of Gia, but she stepped forward. Tell me everything. Now. Han nodded to Sun, who touched a panel. The walls slid open, revealing a large chamber. Inside floated what looked like a human body, connected to machines. Is that Day? Gia whispered. What remained of him, Han explained. When the accident happened near Jupiter, your husband was not entirely dead. We found him. We? My people. We've been observing humanity from Jupiter's moons for centuries. Why? Didn't you just return him to Earth? His body was too damaged, but his brain, his consciousness, we could save that. Sun approached Gia. Your husband made first contact with us a year before the accident. He knew we existed. He never told me, Gia said, hurt in her voice. He was protecting you, Han replied, and preparing for something greater. When the accident happened, we offered him a choice. What choice? To become a bridge between our species. Han touched the glass chamber. This is his original body, preserved but no longer functioning. His consciousness was mapped, merged with one of our volunteers. You? Gia asked. Han nodded. I am both Han of the Stellar Collective and Day Kim of Earth. Two minds, sharing experiences, memories, emotions. Gia looked at the floating body of her husband, then at Han. Why come back now? Why let me see you? Because it's time, Sun said. Humanity is ready to learn they're not alone. But direct contact has been all problematic with other species. Your husband's solution was brilliant, a merger of minds, creating ambassadors who understand both worlds. There are others like you? Gia asked Han, 12 so far. All volunteers who were dying, all with loved ones who might recognize them like you did. The device in Gia's pocket began to glow brightly. Han smiled. That's a communication beacon. It recognized your DNA. Day programmed it for you in case I ever found out the truth, Gia finished. She held the glowing cube, feeling. It pulsed like a heartbeat. So what happens now, she asked. That, said Han, is partly up to you. The soft hum of machines filled the research facility as Gia stared at the communication beacon in her palm. The cube's glow pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Han stood beside her, his face, Day's face, patient and calm. I want to know everything, Gia said. No more secrets. Han nodded and led her to a room with a large round table. Sun followed, carrying a device similar to a projector. When she placed it on the table, a three-dimensional map of stars appeared above them. This is our galaxy, Han explained. And these points of light represent inhabited worlds. There were hundreds of them. Earth was marked in blue at the edge of the spiral. You're not the first species we've contacted, Sun said. The Stellar Collective includes 27 different civilizations. Why haven't we detected any of you? Tay asked suspiciously. You have, Han replied. But without context, the signals seemed like natural phenomena. You weren't ready. And now we are? Gia asked. Now you must be, Sun answered. Your technology is advancing rapidly. Soon you'll develop faster than light travel. When that happens, you'll join a larger community whether you're prepared or not. Han touched the map, and it zoomed in on Earth. Your planet faces serious challenges: climate change, resource depletion, political division. The next 50 years are critical for your survival. And you want to help us? Gia's voice was skeptical. We need each other, Han said simply. Your species has something rare in the universe: adaptability, creative thinking. You solve problems in ways we never consider. The map changed to show the wreckage of Day's spacecraft near Jupiter. When your husband's accident happened, I was there, Han continued. My people were studying him already. He was brilliant, but more importantly, he was open-minded. When I joined with his consciousness, something unexpected happened. What? Gia asked. I became more than either of us alone. His humanity changed me, and that's when we realized what humans could offer the collective. Sun added. Other species we contacted directly suffered psychological trauma. Their religions, their sense of identity, everything collapsed. Many took generations to recover. But with ambassadors like Han, part human, part alien, first contact can happen gradually, Tay said, understanding. Exactly, Han confirmed. 12 of us are now on Earth, each connected to someone influential: scientists, artists, leaders, people who can help prepare humanity. Gia looked at the floating image of Day's wrecked ship. Did my husband really volunteer for this, or did you take him when he was dying? Han's face softened. He not only volunteered, it was his idea. He touched the projector again. A video appeared. Day in his spacesuit, floating inside his damaged ship. Oxygen warnings flashed on his helmet display. My ship is failing, Day's voice said. But I've been in contact with them for months. They can save my consciousness if not my body. Gia, if you ever see this, please understand. Someone needed to be first, to build a bridge. I love you. Tears slid down Gia's cheeks. Han respectfully looked away. There's something else you should... No, Sun said. Earth is in danger. From what? Tay demanded. Not from us, Han assured them. From a group that opposes the collective. They believe developing species should be left alone or exploited. They've already sent agents to your planet. The strange lights people have reported, Gia realized. The conspiracy theories online about alien sightings. Those are real. Some are, Han nodded. We've been trying to intercept them, but they're growing bolder. Why tell me all this? Gia asked. What can I do? Your company has the resources and technology to help us, Sun explained, and you have influence with world leaders. You want me to help prepare humanity for first contact, Gia said slowly. Yes, Han replied, but there's a risk. Once you join us, there's no going back. Knowledge of the wider universe changes everything. Outside the window, the sun was setting behind the mountains. Somewhere in the darkening sky were other worlds, other beings looking back at Earth. When? Gia asked finally. When does it happen? Official first contact? Han smiled. That depends on how quickly we can prepare your people, but the timetable has accelerated. 1 year, maybe less. The beacon in Gia's hand glowed brighter, almost as if responding to her decision before she made it. 6 months after learning the truth, Gia stood at the window of her office, watching the city below. The world had changed dramatically, though most people didn't know why. Her company had released 3 revolutionary technologies in quick succession: a new energy source that produced no waste, materials that cleaned pollution from water and air, and medical devices that could heal previously untreatable conditions. The press called it genius. Only Gia and her small inner circle knew these advances came from alien science, carefully modified to seem like human innovation. The news reports are positive, said Tay, entering with a tablet. Public reaction is better than we expected. People accept change when it improves their lives, Gia replied. The hard part comes next. On her desk sat the communication beacon, now permanently glowing. It connected her to the network of 12 hybrid ambassadors around the world. Each one guided a different sector: energy, medicine, communications, agriculture. Each one, like Han, carried the consciousness of both, human and alien. Her phone rang. It was Min, the Korean president's chief advisor, who was also one of the 12. The Council of Nations will meet next week, Min said. They're ready to hear the proposal. And the opposition? Gia asked, growing quieter. Their predictions. Half disaster look foolish when our technologies are saving lives. After the call, Gia went to the roof where a helicopter waited. It flew her to the mountain facility, now expanded and buzzing with activity. Scientists worked alongside special government officials who had been carefully selected and briefed about humanity's true situation. Han met her in the central chamber. In the 6 months they had worked together, Gia had stopped seeing him as Dai. He was something different, something new. Today is important, Han said. We're activating the global network. They entered a room with a large circular platform. The other 11 ambassadors were already there, forming a circle. Each one had been chosen like Han, a human consciousness, preserved and merged with a volunteer from the Stellar Collective. As Gia watched, they joined hands. The platform beneath them glowed with symbols similar to those on the beacon. A field of energy rose around them. What exactly will this do? Gia asked Sun, who stood beside her. It will create a protective field around Earth, Sun explained. The opposition ships won't be able to land undetected anymore. And it prepares. The way for the arrival, added Han. The Collective Council has moved up the timetable. Official first contact will happen in 1 month. Gia gasped. So soon? Are we ready? As ready as we can be, Han said. The Council feels Earth cannot wait any longer. Later that day, Gia sat with Han in the garden behind the facility. The sky was turning purple with sunset. There's something. I haven't told you, Han said quietly. Something happening to me. What is it? Gia asked, concerned by his tone. The merger between myself and Day. It's changing. His consciousness is becoming stronger. What does that mean? It means I'm becoming more human, more him. Han looked at his hands. This wasn't expected. It's happening with some of the other ambassadors too. Is it dangerous? No. But it suggests humans are more adaptable than we realized. Instead of us changing you, you may be changing us. Gia thought about this. Evolution works both ways. 1 month later, Gia stood on a stage before the world's leaders and cameras broadcasting to billions. Beside her was Han, along with the other ambassadors and representatives from Earth's major nations. Above them, visible in the daylight sky, hovered the massive ship of the Stellar Collective Council. Its arrival the previous day had shocked the world, but there had been no panic. The careful preparation had worked. Today, humanity joins a community greater than ourselves, Gia said into the microphone. We are not alone, and we never were. She stepped back as Han came forward to address the crowd. As he spoke, she noticed something in his eyes, in his gestures, something more familiar than ever. When the ceremony ended, they walked together away from the cameras. "Day?" she whispered, too quietly for anyone else to hear. Han smiled. Day's smile. Not exactly. But not entirely Han anymore either. Something new. Something evolved. He took her hand as they looked up at the ship and the stars beyond. "Ready? For what comes next?" he asked. Jia nodded. Humanity's greatest journey was just beginning.